Hello, guys. How you doing? This is Adam here, and we're going to go over the CPT mock exam. All right, so let's do it. Okay, let's do it. Here we go. All right, let me share my screen. So right here for the CPT mock exam, what you want to do first of all is just to look at my own sample. Just go right to Google Classroom. You can see right there where it says sample written response for CSP, and it says from my project. So I posted my sample written response and my sample project right there. Okay, so I'll go and click that open right there. All right, and when you do that, just go and press view code if you want to see the code, which you probably do. And under data, you will have to go and re-import this table. Just go and do a search NYC public Wi-Fi. You can see right there, right here, that it's right there, NYC public Wi-Fi. Okay, so that is right there. And then to look at my practice written response right here, which is like, what you're going to do for the mock exam, just open it right there. Okay, so all good right there. All right. All right, so this is where you're entering. Now, it does say in the very top right here, these planning, annotating, and pre-writing strategies are useful when planning for the written response portion of the APCS Principles exam. Now, I think it is great to plan. I think it is great to annotate, which is like circling, underlining. I think it's solid to write a little outline. Very good. And cross up to whatever. I think all that is great. But right here for this, all I'm going to really grade is your actual sample written responses. And I think actually your reflection, it would be nice to see where you had trouble and if you have any questions. So I would like to see you answer the reflection too. Okay. Other than that, I'm not going to really grade, any of your annotating or planning or anything. Okay. Let's go on. All right. So these are just all the questions and we'll do it one by one. Here we go. Review the question, circle key terms in order to identify terms to address in your response. Identify an expected user of your program. Describe one way your program's design meets the needs of this user. So no problem. So whether you're doing a program about dogs, right, then your expected user is people interested in dogs. If you're doing a program about soccer, your expected user is people that are fans of soccer, etc., right? And then you want to describe how your program meets that needs. How does it kind of simplify the process and make it, how is it user friendly, for example, okay? So my program, if you look at it, you type in the zip code, you put find by zip code, and it gives you a public Wi-Fi location in New York City according to that zip code. So let's see what I said right here. I said, an expected user of my program would be people who want to find public Wi-Fi locations in specific areas in New York City. Okay. The program design allows users to type in their zip code, making it a user-friendly application. So for example, if you have like a drop down of like a breed of dog, well, then the design allows you to go and select a breed of dog, and that goes and outputs whatever, that causes it to be user-friendly, et cetera. So you just mention how you made this like more accessible, okay? That's about it. I mean, mine was 2 sentences, 3 sentences is fine. Probably not too much more than that, okay? Unless it's a very, very complicated program. So, but I think, basically straight and to the point, okay? Let's go to the next one. Okay, this says right here, review the question, circle key terms. All right, I underline key terms. Consider the first iteration statement included in the procedure section of your personalized project reference. So we have vocab there. Iteration, of course, is a loop. A procedure is your function procedure, okay? In AppLab, that's what a procedure is. Now, first of all, identify the number of times the body of your iteration statement will execute. So that's the first question. So how many times is this loop going to go? How many iterations, essentially? That's question 1. Describe a condition or error that would cause your iteration statement to not terminate and cause an infinite loop. It's just going to go on and 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 on forever. If no such condition or error exists, explain how the loop could be modified to cause an infinite loop. Okay, so I'll just tell you in my particular program, there is no condition or error that could cause the iteration statement to terminate and cause an infinite loop. It doesn't exist in my program. just showing you right here the code. It doesn't matter. Look at my argument right there is filter, get number, input, zip, text, right? If I put in letters right there, it will go into this parameter zip right here. What's going to happen? They won't find a match. This filled address list will not append. Since it's not append, it won't have a length greater than 0. And the else statement will run, sorry, no Wi-Fi was found. Okay, regardless. Just showing you, in case you don't believe me right here. Chung, 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 chung. Oh, sorry, no Wi-Fi was found right here. So there's no way actually that my program will go through an infinite loop. It just simply right here, it will always go through the zip list, always, okay? So that means I have to modify the loop to make it infinite. Well, when I was looking about that, I thought, oh, that's not too bad. From 0 all the way to ending at when I is just less than ziplist.length, right? I++. So I thought, what if it instead was I minus minus, right? So it would start at 0, -1, -2, -3, -4. And it's never, ever going to reach ziplist.length because that is, of course, ziplist.length is going to be, the number of, it's essentially the number of public Wi-Fi locations, and it's the corresponding zip codes of Wi-Fi locations. That's going to be in the thousands. So we'll never reach that. So that will create an infinite loop. Let's look and see what I said. The for loop in my procedure on line 15, notice I referenced the line right there. You should do that. Executes as many times as there are items in my zip list. This list is based on a very large data set of the corresponding zip codes. Sorry, I should have said codes there. For every public Wi-Fi location in New York City. So just so let's context, that's about, I think it's a data set of like 2,500 entries. There is no possible way that this loop could result in an infinite loop unless the loop is changed, okay? So I have to change the loop. If the loop was written as for var I equals 0, I less than ziplist.length, I minus minus, this would cause an infinite loop. Variable I would start at 0 and continue to decrease by 1 infinitely. And it would never reach the end, which is ziplist.length. So it would never go to the very end. It's just going to keep on decreasing 1, decreasing 1, decreasing 1, etc. Okay? All right, all good right there. Okay? So, there might be other ways to go and explain this to create an infinite loop. I think I just saw for mine, that's a very easy way to do that. Okay? All good right there. Okay, let's go to the next one. Consider the procedure included in Part 1 of the procedure section of your personalized project reference. Describe a change to your procedure that will result in a runtime error. Explain why this change will result in a runtime error. Again, procedure section of a personalized project reference is just going to be your function procedure, your main, whatever you called it, filter function or whatever you had called your main function, right? All right, so let's look at that and see how can I, right here, change this so that a runtime error occurs. When I first saw this, I was like, oh, this is hard. How do I figure out how to get a runtime error? And what is a runtime error? It means that basically it doesn't show up in your code when you write it in your code, but when you press run and you click a few drop downs or buttons, eventually the program will shut down and it will show an error in the console, okay? So I looked at this and I really thought about this and I thought, wait a second here. Anywhere here that's referencing zip list or even address list, if I had just changed that to a list that doesn't even exist, made up a fake name or something like that, it's going to cause a runtime error. Just to show you right here. Now, wherever I can put that here, I can put that here, I can put that here. It is up to you. I'm just going to make it nice and simple and stay with the loop. So I'm going to change this to, I think I called, you can make up any fake name. I think I called mine no list, all right? But you can call it whatever. So, all right. So that's a triangle. That is okay. That is not an error, okay? That just is a warning, all right? No problem. Let's reset and run. Now, it's still running, right? All right, I put in a zip code in New York City right there, and oh, right here, there's my runtime error. And look, you can see the console right there. We can't figure out what no list is. Perhaps you meant the no list without quotes, blah, blah, blah. Make sure you declare a variable, blah, blah. All right, so I never declared that. So that is causing a runtime error. Pretty simple, actually, okay? And again, I could have done that also here. I could have gotten that also here. I mean, there's a lot of ways you could have made a runtime error very easily. Okay? All good there. So let's see how I answered it. All right, and let me put this back to its original form so it doesn't confuse anyone. There we go. Okay. All right. In my procedure in line 15, had I written for var I equals 0, I less than no list.length I plus plus, this would cause a runtime error because no list is not a declared list in my program. The loop would start at 0, but not have a set ending because no list is not even a real list and does not have a length. This would cause the program to show a runtime error. All right, and you just saw it did. Now, if you decided to go and make your fake list right here or right here, then you would have had to explain it a slightly different way. But this doesn't exist, so there would never be a match with zip. Or in this case, this list doesn't list, so you can't create a new item from a list that doesn't even exist. Again, however you want to do it is fine. Okay. All good right there. Let's look at the next one. Here we go. Suppose you are provided with a procedure called is equal. All right, value 1, value 2. This procedure returns true if the two parameters value 1 and value 2 are equal in value and returns false otherwise. Okay? Use the list you identified in a list section. I'm going to underline that right there. Okay? Now, what is that right there? Because you may not be looking at your personalized project reference, but I'll tell you in a second. Explained in detailed steps an algorithm that uses is equal to count the number of times it appears in your list. Okay. Your explanation must be detailed enough for someone else to write the program code. So basically, you're not writing code right here. You're doing pseudocode. You're making instructions for someone to go and code, okay? Detailed instructions for someone to actually code. No problem. So, all right, first of all, we have value 1 and value 2 is what we're talking about right here. And these are obviously right here, the parameters. The procedure returns true if the two parameters are equal in value, returns false otherwise. Okay, so just to show how easy this is and how we explain it, all right, I created an option right there. So let me go and just show you what I did. I'll take out the comments right here. And I'll take out all these comments right here and 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 here. All right, oh happy day right there. And, oh, sorry, this should stay comment. There we go. Okay. Oh, happy day and a half there. All right. No problem. So I actually did this as a code right here just to show you. So first of all, to run it, I said is equal. There's my zip code 10019 zip list. So I'm trying to find the number of times that inside the zip list there exists 10019. Now it's going to be every time because again, remember this is public Wi-Fi location in New York City. So each zip code has many public Wi-Fi locations. So it's going to be many times, all right? So here's what I did. Is equal value 1, and this would be right here value 2 essentially, right? Now value 2, remember, is the zip list, all right? So remember the list is value 2. So I'll change that to value 2 so you can get the full experience here, right? So first of all, I created a variable called total that was initialized at 0. That's going to count the matches, right? Now I ran a loop. It starts at 0, so I equals 0. It ends at right here, I is less than the list right here, which is zip list dot length. That's shown as value 2 there, so it ends at the end of the zip list. All right, I plus plus. Now we don't need to explain that specifically, but I'll show you how I'm going to explain it. It's just more general. Then a conditional occurs right here, an if statement. When there's an actual match between each item of the zip list, okay, which again, I should change that right there for this to work. I'll say that's, again, value 2, but that is zip list, right? That's what's passed there. When there's a match between each item in value 2 and your value 1, which was, in this case, 10019, when we find a match, total increases by 1. Total plus plus just means total increases by 1. And this outputs total. So let's see if this now works. It should. There, yep, 60 items right here. So 60 matches. If I change this to a different zip code, 10039. Let's see how many matches there are there. 15, okay? So it absolutely works right here. So let's see if we can explain this just with pseudocode. How do I explain it right here? It looks pretty simple. Initialized a variable, created a loop, ran a conditional. If there's a match, you total increase by 1, and that represents your actual number of matches. What I just said is kind of simple. Let's look over it. Using zip list, I would create a variable called total, which keeps track of the number of times a value called value1 appears in zip list. All right, zip list is my, that's like the value2 part of it, right? It should be initialized at 0. So this total is initialized at 0, and that's what I had, right? There we go, total 0. Next, create a for loop which iterates through each item of zip list. Fine, that's what I did. Create a conditional inside the loop which checks to see if value1 is equal to the specific element of zip list being iterated by the loop. So it's going through each item of the loop and it's saying, does that equal value1? Does that equal value1? One by one. If it is, then total should increase by 1. All right? That's exactly what I did. Total plus plus means total increase by 1. Once this loop is finished, the variable total will contain the number of times that value1 is included in zip list. All right, so you see, even though it looks intimidating, like when I was explaining the code at first, it's kind of simple. You create the variable, initialize at 0. You make a for loop. It iterates all items of zip list. You make a conditional to check if each, right here, to see if value1 is equal to specific element of zip list being iterated by the loop. If so, you increase by 1. Once that loop is finished, the variable total will contain the number of times value1 is included in zip list. All right, and that is it. Hope this helped, guys. I hope this was fulfilling. All right, have a great day.